Hello, everyone. Please keep supporting Gene Valentino's Truth Podcast. We need our voice to get out there far and wide and help save our country.
Well, welcome in this morning. The studio crowd is happy that you are here. We love to talk to you on Fridays. You know, there's a lot that's gone on since you and I talked last week. And you and I haven't really discussed what you want to talk about today, but just get me started. What's on your mind?
Well, this Fani Willis issue with her boyfriend, lover, Nathan Wade is something that's capturing the headlines in the news. Now, this morning, we have a Russian critic of Putin, this Alexei Navalny, just dying at age. Say again?
Has assumed room temperature.
Yes, assumed room temperature. Indeed, died at 47 years of age. What a shame. The guy was promoting a more neutral and progressive approach toward communism. Well, I don't know. Maybe he was introducing a form of democracy over there, which scared the tar out of Vladimir Putin so badly. Putin's ramped up his overstated sense of self-worth and thinks he has the ability to become more aggressive because he sees the wimpiness of Mr. Biden, to the point where Kamala Harris seems to be coming forward now with national policy in Biden's absence. These are the backdrop story, but the one I wanted to lead with you this morning, Michael, and we can come back to any of the others. It's your show. Tell me what you want to talk about. But if you're asking me, I think the real problem is that the CIA was working in concert with Russia. I think the Mar-a-Lago raid, I fear, was to rifle through drawers and boxes, not to go through minor documents that Trump had a legitimate and legal right to have in his possession, as compared to Biden, who did not, as vice president and senator. But more importantly, it was because they had the CIA feared that the Steele dossier and Hillary Clinton's reports and mandates were in a binder that described how they were going to go forward with it. No small coincidence, just 2 years ago. Remember this? I brought it up before. It's the 51 characters in the New York Post on March the 17th, 2022.
And that is what he's holding up here, folks. I can see it. You cannot, but let me describe it to you. It's a New York Post, and it says spies who lie. And it's got the picture of all those, or most of the 51 intelligence officials that are supposedly the know-it-all people that are telling us about how bad Donald Trump is. But anyway, go ahead.
No, that's good. And the two in the center of the front page article, John Brennan and James Clapper. James Clapper with the NIH, National Intelligence Agency, excuse me. But the real villain, the real Satan, still around, Mr. John Brennan, former head of the CIA.
Yeah, he's still
characters.
Yeah, he's still around, and he's also still very active in trying to stop Donald Trump from getting back in the White House.
Exactly. And this 50-page report is exactly why we had Gino's 3Ds evidence themselves again, didn't we? Divert, deflect, and distract. What were they talking about just yesterday? Spy satellites in outer space created by Russia that could laser in and nuke the other nations' communications network and satellites in outer space. Non-aggressive satellites. Russia going to take us down and disarm us through the incineration in outer space of American satellites. Turns out to be another hoax.
Yeah.
That hoax is, Michael, is absolutely off base. It's out of line, and they threw it out there to divert your attention again, to distract your attention again, to take your attention in a different direction away from the Fani Willis and her boyfriend, who were making their way not only on 6 vacations in 5 months, but trips to the White House to brief Biden and his colleagues about how they're going to strategize to take down their biggest fear, Donald Trump.
I want you to think about something, Gene. I mean, you and I, we've both been fairly successful in our life. You have done well. You've got your own airplane. You've got a really nice home. 6 vacations in 5 months. I don't ever recall in my life ever being able to make that work out.
Paying them with cash from a government contract I gave in this case, my girlfriend. In her case, she gave cash to her boyfriend, and no one seems to have receipts for these lavish trips, this privileged menu of caviar and fine champagnes and wines. Oh, my words. I think I'm in the wrong business. I don't know. I'm trying to do things right. It's not working.
Look, I mean, obviously when I watched that yesterday, and it's funny how certain things will catch your attention. And this caught my attention yesterday, and I started watching some of this, and I saw the boyfriend do some testimony. I saw Fani Willis do some testimony. And was it just me, or did it really look like these people are covering something up and they're lying?
Oh, Shakespeare's poem, "He doth protesteth too loudly," is a perfect example. You get a prosecutor and a DA thinking they're going to take national stage and insult the judge who's worried about reelection himself, and insult the defense prosecution, the people defending Trump. Your Honor, would you please calm her down? I mean, we have a right to ask these questions. She went at them and she bullied her way into the courtroom, by the way. She was not scheduled at that moment to speak. She walks her way up to the witness stand to speak and starts to chew out everybody. How do you win points playing that game? Is she thinks from the witness bench she's going to control the outcome of a court case? This is going to be very exciting. It's also going to be key in determining whether that judge has the intestinal fortitude to step up and actually dismiss the case. Folks, this case is so out of line. This case is so one-sided, and the evidence is so clear and in your face that they're trying to divert and distract your attention again. Cases have been thrown out for much less hyperbole, much less BS that ends up being a distraction for you. I'm going to distract you with all this nonsense so you ignore the fact that I paid off my boyfriend to go into 6 trips in 5 months with cash payments, and he and I were directed by the White House to take out Trump. What kind of justice is that? And what does this put into, what momentum? What happens? What are the consequences from this? God willing, this case is thrown out. But how many of the other 90 cases will be thrown out as a consequence of this reckless prosecution?
Well, if you look at that judge, he does. I mean, look, I don't know the guy. Apparently, he's been there for just a short period of time, and is having to run for reelection. And having been around the court system, the justice system, so to speak, and been around judges and prosecutors, it's kind of a tough spot for him. In fact, I'm wondering, why they actually have a local judge that is hearing this. Maybe it would have been better if they would have gotten an out-of-town judge to come in and to hear this case. Because I knew they were lying before she got on the stand, Gene. But when she got on the stand, there was no question in my mind that this woman she's taking the old adage that a good offense is the best defense. And so she's going on the offensive to try to make people believe, and a lot of people will, by the way, believe that she's just trying to do the right thing. But yet she's trying to distract, like you said, away from the fact that she had a relationship with this guy before any of this ever happened. She, according to witnesses, was doing things that is consistent with an affair, which is hugging, kissing, meeting people after hours, all of the things that she was doing. And then she hires this guy to prosecute Donald Trump and is the beneficiary of many trips, which, by the way, she says, and look, I'm not making this stuff up. You watch it for yourself. She paid him back in cash. Now, you know that the only people that use cash for large transactions are drug dealers or people who are trying to hide something.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's carry around 10, 20,000 bucks of cash in our pocket and hear what Nathan Wade said, but I don't carry receipts for that. Of course you don't. You're paying it in cash. Here's what the reality is, Michael. We have a national crisis on 2 or 3 levels. We've got the judiciary that is being abused by the likes of a Fani Willis and a Nathan Wade. But it's pervasive because they were funded by whom? George Soros. Fani Willis is just one example of other DAs and prosecutors around this nation that are abusing our judicial system, our democratic process. In parallel to that, are we not concerned about Ukraine? Of course we're concerned about Ukraine. But hold on, as Donald Trump would say, protect the border first. Here's the threat that the senators, forgive me, his name just went out of my head, from South Carolina. They were over in Ukraine and they're worried about Putin coming after Moldavia, Georgia, Lithuania. Oh, Putin's getting more bold and brazen because of our lack of attention to Europe because of our own problems at the southern border. No, we're concerned about both, but our own border comes first. But let's not worry about the border. We got all kinds of immigrants, illegal immigrants coming over the line that we're going to make Democrats to vote. And I could go on.
Yeah, you could. All right. So if you had that in, you would be able to hear much better. You need to put that in and leave that in because you were talking about Lindsey Graham, by the way. You couldn't hear me because you didn't have your earpiece in.
Lindsey Graham, my apologies.
Yeah, that's it. We're out of time. We only have a few seconds left, but look, keep watching. Let us know what you think next week about all of the things that are happening. And there's more to happen, I guarantee you, next week. So we'll stay up to date.
Next week, I propose the CIA issue. I'll come back to the CIA issue. It's bigger than Fani Willis.
Okay, good deal. All right, we'll see you next week. Thank you. Have a great weekend.